Welcome back to episode 106. So, in last week's video, you saw me assemble one of the rear struts, and I think I put it back on the car. And I said I'll put the other one on there in my own time, sort of in silence. I did that, but when I came back to this one that I put on, I found a problem. So let me show you what that problem is later in this video. What I want to try and do this week is get everything back on the car, get it all working again, and ideally get it out on the road. I don't know how far I'm going to get through that, but that's my goal. Anyway, let's just dive in, see how far I can get. As ever, click the like button, click subscribe, leave some comments. I'm trying to push towards 2,000. I'm almost there now on subscribers, so please, if you're watching this, click the subscribe button. You don't have to watch the videos, just click the subscribe. But let's get in there and see how far I can get. We're going to put these half shafts together. What I've done then is I've got the CV boots. Now these are the original ones, which to me look okay. There's no splits or anything. They must have been replaced somewhere in the not too distant future. I'm going to slide them back on, which I just started doing and stopped because I thought I'd record it. I've got the CV joints here that I've sprayed out extensively with brake cleaner, so I'm happy that they're clean inside. Quite a bit of grip came out actually, but they're good now. I've got the little clips here ready. What else do we have? I think that is all we need. Now, orientation of the joint. I keep talking about the these lines that are around the bottom there. You can probably see there's a line there. That has to match with the line that is cut in. Let's get the light on it for you. There's a line sort of recessed around there on the inner piece. They both are on one side, and they face into the shaft as best I can work out. So we're going to be putting on that way. But first we need to get this boot on. So to get this boot, I've greased the inside of the shaft. Oh, sorry, inside of the boot. He's certainly putting up a fight. There we go. Right. It's kind of turned inside out, but I can probably flip that back. So, one shaft on. One boot on. So, I think a correction, I think I was actually wrong the way around I said. I believe it goes with this reach that I'm talking about around the top of the thing towards the outside of the shaft. Let's try and get this one to slip on. There we go. Straight on. Okay. So that does seem to be quite happy. And I've got the little circlip which I need to squeeze on there. I don't know if I can actually do it magically by hand. Probably not. If not, I can. Wowzer. Okay. So that's one on. That was pretty straightforward, wasn't it? And then, okay, so when I do the next ones, what I need to do is put the clips on first, otherwise I need to open them all out. We can do it this time around. But top tip, let's get one of those CV clips, clips on now then and see what that looks like. Next time round, I will put the clamps on first so they're sitting on the shaft. This way around I need to undo the clamp, which is a bit of a pain in the butt. But it's done. So I'm just going to try and tighten up around the shaft now to get it used to bending in that direction and that amount. Something like that. And once it knows I want it that size, it's a lot easier. There we go, like that. Now I'm going to try and squeeze that around. Right there, looking pretty good. I'll get the tool and we'll crimp that and see if that holds. Right, so I've got that as tight as I can. Let's just try crimping it and see if that holds happily. I don't like the fact that the side keeps just tucking out for some reason. I don't know why I'm popping out. But that's on there pretty good. I think that's one on. Good. Okay, I'm going to quickly do the other three. And then we'll look at getting those back on the car. Right, definitely a job I should have done while I had the CV joints off, but packing this with grease. So I'm just going round, I've got it laid over now. It's actually easier when it's standing up, but I can't show you, so we'll try and do this one laying over. I'm just going around, so I'm squeezing it in like that, and then we'll do the same on the other side and then manipulate it around quite a bit. Right, there's quite a bit of grease gone in there now. That grinding's rubbing against the CV joint, by the way. Seems like there's quite a lot there. Good. Okay. Well, I'm going to work through the other 3 and just sort of pack them up, and that should be them ready to go back on the car. Right, just before I actually go and try to offer up these half shafts, I'm putting a little bit of anti-slip grease, anti-seize grease, God I can't remember that name, and put the bolts in ready. And then I've got brand new gaskets here ready to go back on as well. But I just want to work through these bolts and just make sure they're not going to seize in there. Maybe put a little bit too much on that one. It's easy to put them in now. What I'm trying to do is also find the one that's dead. I may have chucked it out already, actually, thinking about it. But let's try and work through these. So that's those 6 done. I'll try and do these 6 quickly. Okay, so let's try and get this in. As you can imagine, I've not done this before, like I always say. And I'm trying to work out how on earth I'm going to thread it in there. Perhaps... probably something I should have thought about before I came down here. Well, it must go. So it must go up like that. I must be able to get in there. I've got the gaskets on. I'm using the power of grease to hold them in place, which hopefully is enough. I'm not sure there's enough room to get that in. Oh dear. And I really don't want to take the whole knuckle out again. That is a bit of a mistake. I wonder if I can thread it in from above, like this. I might be able to just... I'm going to turn the camera off so I can get there without putting my head in front of the camera, and I'm going to try and waggle it in this way. So yes, that's exactly what I did. I came in where the camera is now and managed to sort of slide it across and just sort of put it in. It's not bolted up yet. I've just literally popped it in there. I want to show my proud work. But that's looking pretty okay, I think. I'm going to spend a bit of time now to do up those bolts, or at least get them started, and then we'll try and get the other side in. Right, that's one side done, dusted. Looks pretty good, I think. Hopefully you can see that in there with it focusing. Turns nice and smooth. This side's up the same as well. Yeah, pretty pleased with that. I think the whole, this side suspension, if I get you a bit of light, looks pretty decent. Now I'm just going to go across and do the other side. Right, with one of these in already, I'll see if I can film putting the other one in. It wasn't that hard actually when I actually got to it. It just took a little bit of jiggling. This side's easier because there isn't an exhaust in the way. So I'm hoping I can just do it pretty much like that. So I'm just going to rest it there. This side I'm going to just line up and get a couple of the bolts started, which will be tricky the way I'm laying, but you know, let's give it a go. At least I'm not in front of the camera. And then the back side's even easier. The good thing about these half shafts, and I suppose any of these shafts, is that how the CV joints, there is the ability to sort of compress it or pull it apart, lengthen it. So all I do is just sort of compress both of the joints back in, and you can squeeze it in the gap, which is really handy. Right, so I get 2 started and then I know that I'm in the right direction. That's it. Okay, right, I'll spend the time and do those up properly, but that's pretty much there. I just finished wrestling with this pivot pin. A really interesting thing came out of it. So what I had, I might be able to show you on this. This is my old pivot pin before I destroyed it. I bought a replacement pivot pin, which came, obviously it's a used one, and it came with the nuts on the ends. The nut on one end was sort of kind of seized in place, and you could see where someone had hit it with a hammer a couple of times and created a burr on the end of the thread. So I didn't worry about that. I just slid the pin in as you do, sort of on that angle, and did the nut up on the other end. Now I tightened that nut up, and as tight as I could go, and I took it to sort of, you know, 100 foot-pounds, pretty tight, but I could still wobble the knuckle here, the carrier, and I couldn't work out what was wrong. And I looked backs and forwards, checking out the washers, the cone washers, check they're in the correct place. Everything's correct. I measured each of the items with my sort of calipers. They're all correct. The curious thing is that on their lower control arm, it's a fixed sort of like a U shape in metal, and the damper and this carrier go in there, creating like a sandwich. But this U is fixed. You can't move it. It's not like tightening the nuts going to do anything. And then I realised that when you tighten this pivot pin, you know, the nuts on each end, what they effectively do is squeeze the bushings in, and the bushing on the lower control arm has a metal liner on the inside of it. So as you tighten that nut in, it presses the sandwich together, which causes all the items to sort of compact and become taut. Now, it took me a few hours to realise that the problem was that seized nut on the end was right at the top of the thread, up here, not down here. So being up here meant that when I tightened the nut up this end, I wound it fully into the end of the thread, and it wasn't tight enough to compress everything together. So I'd take this out, take it back to the bench, heat the nut up to its cherry red, it wasn't quite, and then get some penetrating oil in there, get it moving, wind that down the thread, and then put it all back in. And I'm happy to prove it's all solid now. Okay, slowly but surely I'm getting this all back together. I've now talked up everything I can find. I'm just looking around. Whenever I say that, I've talked up everything, I can't help myself but look around and see if I've missed one. But I believe I've talked everything up. I'm just going to pop the disc back on now. Just trying to see if I can, not that way around, it's that way. Let's pop this back on, and we can put the caliper back on. I think we are inching closer and closer. I just quickly checked. The little grinding noise is the where am I putting this? I'm sure it's in there. Is the handbrake. So I've just adjusted those pads out of the way. The handbrake at the moment doesn't actually work, which I'm not massively worried about because it's another job I'll do later, and so I can just leave it for the moment. But it is one of those jobs waiting to be done. I've had a sort of very quick look at it, but I can't see why it won't tighten, and the cable's as tight as it will go. So I'm not going to worry about that for the moment. What I want to do is offer up the caliper. I've got all the bits here for. Do like that. And we take it off its hook. I don't like it hanging there. It was twisted, one of the brake, the flexi cable, I didn't really like that. If I can get this unclipped one-handed. Some kind of hero. Alright, nearly. Okay, hero. Let's see if this will just slide back on for me then. I'm pretty sure I've not pressed the brake pedal in the interim. Let's hope I've not. Just rubber mallet that on. There we go. If I just get one bolt in, I can rest. So easy, isn't it? That's what I like. Some of these jobs are really straightforward, and you know they're going to be straightforward. Good. Now the other side's a little bit more awkward because the car's parked tight in the garage. So I'm going to have to work a little bit to get onto that. But it should be okay. So I'll get these two on. Then I think we're getting down to the point. I just want to think about, have I missed anything? I'm pretty sure I haven't. I can do the check the tension on the flex plate because I've had the gearbox moving around so much. I don't want to just a bit grindy, but it's on the pads. Check the tension on the flex plate, and then we can get the car right driving again. Right, the car's back down on the ground. I don't know how long it's been actually. It's quite a while. I'll flash up actually how many days it's been since I fired it up when I started doing this whole rear suspension stuff. But I didn't bother showing you. I torqued everything up, torqued up the drive shafts, put the discs on, put the calipers on, torqued that all up, and put the wheels on. They're all on tight. Connected the battery. What I've not done, which is the thing I keep talking about, is check the flex plate. But to do that, what I want to do is, I'm going to have to start it and just turn it around and drive up the ramp so I can get underneath it a bit easier and drop that flex plate and just check the tension on there. It'll be fine for this, minimal running. But this is the first start. So what I want to do is video, I'll show you guys how it starts after how many days I put up there. It's a while though, probably 2 months. So I'm going to turn the key. Let's see what it does. It may not do anything, but let's find out. Ready? Might not be any fuel in it. It never starts on first anyway. Ah, I should have held that on. Still runs. That's not bad actually. It always starts on the second because the first one seems to be the one that primes the fuel through. And then when I would do the second one, it always fires. It would have fired then, but I let go of the key. It's up and running, isn't it? So that's pretty cool. Tomorrow I'll get the car out and actually check whether the clunking is fixed, but that might be in the next video. After all that gearbox work, I wanted to just sort of check the tension on the flex plate. It looks okay. What I'm going to do is just quickly undo that pinch screw and we'll just see if it moves. I'm not going to be able to hold the camera obviously, but I'll just try and move you around. I can't see any sort of bowing of the plate itself. It looks good. Yeah, I think we're probably okay. But I'll quickly go through that and just nip it back up. Now that was interesting, I spoke too soon. Undoing the bolt, which is the pinch bolt's undone now, and it slid back visibly about probably 3 or 4 millimeters towards the back of the car. So this clearly was pushing forwards quite hard on the flex plate. So really glad I did that. I'm going to just slacken it off a little bit more, just make sure it's happy, and then I'll pinch that back up. Right, I'm going to leave it there. That's all I'm going to do for this video. Pleased to finally get to the end of that. That's taken quite a lot of time, mostly because I've been away on holiday. But there's quite a lot of work in there, taking all the bits off. Obviously I rebuilt the shocks, which is quite a lot, the damper that's broken in there. And then just trying to get everything back on, it's taken quite a bit of work. But very pleased to get it finally there. As I said, next week, or tomorrow it'll probably be, or across the next few days, I'll get the car out and actually prove that this clunking's gone, if it has gone. So tune in next week for that one. But let's wrap up now. As ever, thanks for watching. Click that like button, click subscribe, leave me some comments, and I'll see you next time.